President Trump's main platforms, of course, when he was candidate Trump, is to make the relationship better with Russia. You get the sense that even in that praise for President Trump, President Putin is having a bit of a dig at the U.S. president.
Imagine that. CNN's Matthew Chance in Moscow. Thanks very much. Coming up, President Trump denies claims by his former fixer and lawyer that he had advance knowledge of the 2016 meeting with Russians at Trump Tower. Is Michael Cohen ready to testify under oath? That's our reporting. And as President Trump's national security team discusses election cyber attacks, a Democratic senator says that her office has already been targeted by Russian hackers this year. If you're in the Situation Room, reporters' questions about his former attorney and fixer, Michael Cohen. On Twitter this morning, though, the president denied Cohen's claim that he knew ahead of time about the 2016 Trump Tower meeting where Russians had offered to provide the campaign with dirt on Hillary Clinton. Let's talk about this with our legal and political experts. Jeffrey Toobin, if I could begin with you. You and I have discussed a few legal developments in this case over the course of the last couple of years. Place this one in the pantheon. And granted, this is potential because he hasn't testified to the special counsel here, but he is offering to testify to some pretty explosive stuff.
Well, it's enormously significant because, if there has been one bedrock claim by the president and then the candidate, Donald Trump, is that he had no knowledge, no connection to any contacts between the Russians and his campaign. If Michael Cohen is correct that Donald Trump knew about and authorized this meeting in Trump Tower between Russian government representatives and the high command of the Trump campaign, that would be enormously significant. In addition, you have Donald Trump Jr. having testified under oath before Congress that he did not inform the president of this meeting in advance. So if it's established convincingly that Michael Cohen is telling the truth, Donald Trump Jr. could have a perjury problem.
Yeah, and we have people in this investigation who've already been sentenced to time in prison for that. Nia Malika, so the Trump team has been spinning denials about this meeting ever since it's happened, just for the sake of our viewers, because it's hard to keep track of all the stories. We can show some of this up on the screen. June 9th, when it first came out, Don Jr., Trump knew nothing. Sanders said he learned of it later. Trump learned of it later. Trump again, Don Jr. again. This has been a repeated back and forth here. Does the White House have credibility on this? Of course, the White House is attempting to impugn the credibility of Michael Cohen here in very aggressive terms. Is the White House a credible?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the White House's credibility on any number of issues, they don't have a ton of credibility. The Washington Post is doing a running count of this. They've got something like 3,200 misleading claims over the last year or so. With this particular issue, if you go back a year, you've got Donald Trump basically intervening to craft a misleading statement about this meeting, essentially saying that it was about Russian adoptions and nothing about finding dirt on Hillary Clinton. The other thing that I think we found out this week from those Cohen tapes is kind of the way things operated at Trump Tower. I mean, you've got Cohen there not only taping Donald Trump, but you get the sense that they're talking about any number of things. Campaign issues, very minor campaign issues, polls, surrogates, an event in Charleston that is postponed at some point. You've got people coming in and out of there talking about, Donald Trump ordering a Coke, and then obviously the hush money as well. So this idea that somehow with this issue that Donald Trump Jr. said he would love this information, the idea that he had kept it a secret from his father, but informed Jared Kushner and informed Paul Manafort, it's a little hard to believe, but we'll see who's believable.
You remember Steve Bannon famously told that to Michael Wolff, right?
Yeah.
The idea that he did not keep his father informed of this in light of the way that organization is run.
Right.
But Jim, let me just add just one sentence onto Nia Malika, and perhaps Axe can weigh in a little bit on this with his time with President Obama, or when President Obama was candidate Obama at the time. Donald Trump's campaign team was historically known, or well known anyway, for being so small that there was a tight-knit group of individuals. It was like 4, 5, 6 people. How he would not have heard about this very big meeting in his building when you hear the likes of Corey Lewandowski and others say that there was really only one decision maker in that campaign, and that was Donald Trump. It's hard to believe that he wouldn't.
It strains credulity. David Axelrod, listen, let's just say it right out. There have been lies about this, repeated lies about this meeting. We never met with Russians. Oh, well, we did meet with Russians. We never met with Russians about this. Oh, well, there are emails that show this, etc. Do those matter over time in this investigation? Because this president has been misleading on a whole host of things, and yet has not faced any real consequences for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the consequences may come when Mr. Mueller reports. In terms of the politics, I think that there's a lot of the country that's tuned this out. There's been a steady, cascade of stories about this. But when you hear interviews with his supporters and you look at the polling, they feel like he's being, they buy his side of the argument that he is the victim of a witch hunt and so on. So I don't think that he has suffered political consequences as yet. But the real issue is what Mueller comes up with. And as we sit here today, surely he knows a lot more about this and where this investigation is going than anybody here.
No question.
Except you, maybe, Jim. You may know more about it, but most of us don't.
I will say no. That is one black box, Mueller's investigation. One consistent theme here is that this administration changes its opinion of close advisors very quickly. Let's just remind people what Trump and his advisors, his closest advisors, were saying about Michael Cohen just a short time ago, and then what they were saying about him last night. Have a listen.
If he believes it's in his best interest to cooperate, God bless him. He should cooperate. I do not expect that Michael Cohen's going to lie. I think he's going to tell the truth as best he can, given his recollection. And if he does that, we're home free. The man is a liar, a proven liar. There's no way you're going to bring down the President of the United States on the testimony, uncorroborated, of a proven liar. And I guarantee you, this guy is a proven liar.
So he's a proven liar. 2 months ago, I think he's going to tell the truth. I do not expect he's a lie. He's a lie. He's honorable. Is that a lawyer you can trust, Jeffrey Toobin?
Well, it's kind of a problem, isn't it? I think, I think I am stammering as much as Rudy Giuliani probably should have stammered last night rather than contradict himself so completely. I mean, look, they are responding to day-by-day events, and the default mode of everyone associated with Donald Trump is to attack. And whenever someone turns on him, they attack. Now, the fact that they didn't attack him 2 months ago, well, that was then, and now they are in battle. And now Michael Cohen is apparently outside the tent for good, and he's going to be a target, as we saw last night.
David Axelrod, how damaging is this for national security? Because this is happening in a context where Russia, we learned yesterday, there were suspicions and warnings that Russia would continue to, let's forget about 2016 for a moment, but would continue to interfere in U.S. elections. And Claire McCaskill confirmed that yesterday, and a Russian attempted attack on her, a key senator in a key race. This is relevant to actual national security threats to this country today.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is not talked about enough. This is a malign force that has attacked us and continues to attack us, and Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill acknowledge that they're continuing to attack us. Members of this administration acknowledge that they're continuing to attack us and try and hack into our elections and manipulate our elections, and yet the president is proffering invitations to Putin. Yeah. Putin's proffering invitations to the president. The president stands on a stage and is completely deferential and never raises this issue in public and never challenges Putin on it. And I can only view this, if I'm Putin, as a green light to continue doing what I'm doing. And, I think the McCaskill report is probably just the tip of the iceberg. We just don't know what the rest is right now, and it's really, really concerning because these are very competitive elections. The president has a lot at stake, and apparently Putin has a lot at stake as well.
And it rings, it's reminiscent of how this played out in 2016, right? That there were small signals here and there. You didn't learn the whole scope of Russia's interference in one day. It happened over time. Jeffrey Toobin, David Axelrod, Mark Preston, Nina Malika, thanks very much. Coming up, the president meets with his national security team today, finally, to talk about preventing cyber attacks on the U.S. midterm elections. A Democratic senator in a very tight race says that her office already has been targeted by Russian hackers this year, with an election on the way, of course. CNN senior national correspondent Alex Marquardt is looking into all of this. Alex, President, we